Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching from. Welcome back to the Masari Show. Before we get started, please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button if you are tuning in from YouTube. And to those tuning in from Spotify, please be sure to drop a 5-star rating. That is the best and easy way of helping us spread our content. So today, I'm excited to introduce our guest today. We got James Stevens, who is the CEO of Krown Network. So, James, it's really an honor to have you on today.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it, Mano. Thank you for having me.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And one of my first questions is, whenever we see an organization with a great vision, achieving a lot, whenever I see great drive, there's always something that's beyond, monetary rewards that motivates the person. So, looking at where Crown is today, what would you say was your why? What really lit your fire to drive you to push the company to where it is today?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me and thank you for the question. Yeah, so the why, when I first looked, I've been in this space for about 10, 11 years now. And when I first looked at the crypto space, I saw two huge gaps. First thing was security. Too many people, including myself, have been victims of fraud or theft. And even broken promises. We see that a lot in this space. We see about all the forward-looking projections, and we see all the promises that are made, but they don't come to fruition a lot of the times, unfortunately. So I thought the industry was not prepared for the next wave of threats, including especially quantum computing. Second was utility. Most projects, they focus on the speculation, their token price, but they have very little real-world use. So that's why I founded Krown. It was really to reestablish the stigma, or to get rid of the stigma in this space of trust, also security, and then also offer that utility to people that they can use. So, I think the most notable thing was that I wanted to empower those investors, those users, those creators to build and thrive, while also being able to help their wealth as well, to be able to increase their wealth, be able to make a good investment, and do that based on trust and based on deliverables that Krown has done so far.
No, that's an interesting answer because actually my follow-up question was going to be around how you quantum proof your solutions because the evolution of quantum computers is a major concern. So to the layman who has a concern around how quantum computing could potentially crack the security in blockchain, what would you say in layman's terms is a solution that would give them comfort?
So when we say, and with Krown, we like to say the safest blockchain in the world is what we're building, and we really mean it. So traditionally, or traditional cryptography is known as RSA or ECC, elliptical curve encryption, but it can be broken by quantum computers, right? And so that's the era that we're entering into. I think to prepare for that, and I would tell everyone this, is that with Krown, we've built a quantum safe, a quantum resistant blockchain for the next era of threats. And we've built that from the foundation up. We have what's called a QRNG. It's a quantum random number generator. We also built into the foundation what's called PQC, or post-quantum cryptography, from day one. So our QRNG ensures that private keys are truly random and unpredictable in every way. And while the PQC part makes our signatures resistant. In other words, when they do validations before they can complete the block, or if we're looking for an authentication of something or someone, everything is completely random, and so it's extremely difficult to crack that. In fact, legacy computing now could not crack the PQC solutions that we have built into our blockchain. So, and we have multiple levels of those in the chain itself. So that's why we're building. That's what we're building in our foundation today.
Oh, awesome. So I also, read through your company and learned that, you guys are beyond just focusing on token and blockchain technology, but you also have a founder hub, which helps, other founders launch Web3 projects. So would that be something that is commercially driven, or are you sort of motivated by, giving back and like strengthening the startup community in Web3, or would it be a bit of both?
It's both. It's absolutely both. The Founder Hub, the hub itself actually came from my belief that blockchain shouldn't be just this exclusive club to techies, right, or people who get it. It should be something that everyone can be a part of. Too many people with great ideas don't have access to the tools or the funding or the technical expertise to launch their projects. But by building that incubator alongside the chain itself, we're not just really creating technology, but we're creating basically an on-ramp for innovation for everyone that may have an idea. So it allows entrepreneurs to launch their ideas. They can do it safely, securely, and also with the resources of the Camelot ecosystem too. Because don't forget, inside of Krown's ecosystem, called Camelot, there's 30 plus platforms and products that people can take advantage of. Everything from a due diligence platform on projects to artificial intelligence or AI-driven algorithms for trading, including a trading platform and exchange and many others.
Oh, awesome. So how do you deal with the security trilemma? When I say trilemma, I'm referring to, quantum proof security, having lightning speed transaction, which is one of your key propositions, as well as, decentralization, because, the digital economy is pretty much, it's referred to as DeFi for a reason, because it is decentralized finance. So how do you, manage the dilemma of like quantum proof security, lightning speed transaction, and decentralization of the nature of it?
So I think the trilemma, as you say, I think it's solvable. I think it just takes kind of designing the architecture differently from the start, from what we're used to. You can say the trilemma itself says you cannot have security, speed, and decentralization all at once. But I disagree. Our approach is different on that. I think with our proof of stake, enhanced by the quantum security layers that we have, we can process those transactions quickly without compromising decentralization. Validators that are within the system, they're incentivized to really keep the system distributed, while the consensus and the cryptographic design really ensures that the speed is not compromised as well. So I think when you look at everything, you say security, speed, and decentralization, if you build it correctly from the ground up, and I'm not talking about a legacy chain that's out there that wasn't built for quantum proofing, but one like Krown chain, then that trilemma solution it's solved. The trilemma is solved with that. And that's exactly what we're doing here.
Awesome. And I must say that the direction that the digital economy is going really excites me. I am a banker by profession, and I've been highly involved with international transactions. As I have worked in multiple banks that have an international presence. And, I kind of compare, the traditional banking system that does have quite hefty clearing times, partially due to security reasons, just by the nature of the international clearing system, versus nowadays in the international, or rather the digital economy, where you can do cross-border payments in seconds. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, and excuse my ignorance, that stablecoin is also going to be adopting blockchain technology. So, given the geopolitics, on one hand, in the U.S., we did see that the Genius Act was signed, I believe, last month. That does pretty much promote the adoption of stablecoin and issuance of stablecoins by U.S. banks. And on the other hand, we do see other emerging economies known as the BRICS also betting on the digital economy as well. How do you see, the new digital economy being adopted globally? How do you see the future of this in practice?
Well, I think if we look at, let's say, the chunk of the pie, if you will, the United States, with even down to the data centers themselves, the United States owns the massive chunk of that. And I think they really kind of lead the way in that, and especially when we saw the Genius pass. And moving forward, the adoption really kind of starts at the governmental level now. These policymakers, they really need to, and they've done it, is sit down with some of the leaders in this sector and say, okay, how do we make this work? How do we gain the adoption? How do we do it in an ethical way? And they're starting to do that. I think it really starts, again, with the countries setting it up properly and acknowledging it. A lot of people will not take on, or these projects or these coins will not take any traction unless they're starting to see that there's a framework in place. And so we're starting to see that happen now. And I think that's a really good thing for the digital economy. But again, it starts at the state level, and then once we have the proper framework there, I think you're really going to see that type of traction.
Yeah, I think the thing that really excited me about the Genius Act, I must say, is the fact that any bank that does issue the stable coins would require it to have an equal amount of liquid assets, either cash or very short-term treasuries for that, and that kind of like does boost the demand for treasuries during a time where the confidence in U.S. treasuries was kind of shaken.
Yeah, it's just like it's just like a casino, right? So if you think about the casinos, by law they're required to have whatever coins or chips they have on the table or out on the floor. They're required to have that in reserve, right? So it works the exact same way, and I love that too. I love the fact that they're required to have that. It's something that uh, you know it needs to be that way because unfortunately in this sector it has a bad rap for dishonesty and transparency and lacking transparency. And so this is something that really helped and really paved the way uh, for growth.
100%. And tell us a bit about your journey. So you shared a bit about your why and how you want to be a solution to, the financial losses and the pain points in the digital economy. So tell us a bit about some of the success stories since you have been in the market in terms of how you've actually, addressed the pain point and how that's reduced losses and, how that's actually made people's lives better. Because at the end of the day, I do believe that business is such a great way of serving the community in a
Yeah,
way.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. But we are in our pre-sale at the moment, but we're set for the MVP or the minimally viable product package, which is our blockchain, the native coin, the Explorer, and the wallet to be launched come October. But the test net will be in about a month from now. So, but my journey really started with after being in the space for so long. I was the victim of theft from one of my wallets, and then also fraud and broken promises again with with vendors and other teams. And so for me, it really was to set out and make sure that it's done right. Trust was a huge thing for me. Making sure that you operate with integrity, ethically. Those are all just massive, I think, pillars that need to be a part of your company moving forward. And for me, it was about sitting down and saying, okay, where are the problems and what are the solutions right now? And are there any solutions that are out there that are actually fixing it completely, or are these just attempts or people talking about it? And a lot of it was just people talking about it. So for us, we sat down and we said, okay, here's one of the problems we see coming up: the emerging threat of quantum compute attacks, quantum attacks. So we wanted to build the foundation security wise that way. The next thing was trust. How do you build trust? Well, you do that by being forward and being open and being doxed and allowing people to see your company, know who the company is, who are the leaders in that company, and being active on podcasts like yours, being active on shows and in magazines, things like that. So people can really start to, you start to have credibility with them. And you don't get that a lot in this space. Unfortunately, a lot of people are hidden behind avatars and, just a keyboard, and you don't know who these people are in the background acting. So for us, that was very important. And I think that's how you start to solve the problem of traction and the problem of security and of trust is just being out there and being open and acknowledging when you have a setback. Like not too long ago, about a month ago, we had a small setback, set us back a few weeks, but we were open about it. We said, okay, here's the problem. We need to go back. We want to fix this. And even in business, and this always happens in business, is you may have a bad actor within your group or a company that you have an agreement with that they don't align with or they don't meet the deliverables or the expectations, and that sets you back. But I think it's how you handle those issues publicly to people that allows you to gain their trust. So that's how we handle it.
No, 100%. When it comes to handling customers and being transparent, I mean, I live in Secaucus, New Jersey, and the closest airport to us is Newark. And I'm pretty sure that, it has made quite a bit of headlines for canceled flights. So that's a very classic example of that.
I've had the pleasure of being a part of that, of Newark's canceled flight. Happened a lot. So
I can imagine you're flying with your heart in your hands in a way.
yeah, it's been bad, but anyway, it's okay.
No, great. And for myself, as an enthusiast of the digital economy, once upon a time, I was a big time skeptic. If you asked me about, let's say, Bitcoin just 2 or 3 years ago, I would have said that that's gambling. I wouldn't call that investing. But today, here I am. I'm actually a holder of it. I actually have started dollar cost averaging in it, right?
Very good.
And I'm actually pretty excited about the direction of stablecoin. I think in a way, I think I saw that the U.S. dollar, well, from all the stablecoin that's adopted globally, over 90% of it is pegged to the US dollar. The adoption of it has been growing quite exponentially because I think just 4 or 5 years ago, it was in a single like billions, but now it's over like $200 billion in terms of global adoption. So, um, how do you see, let's say, how do you see like the financial sector kind of looking fiat currencies relevance compared to let's say stablecoin and Bitcoin and digital assets going forward? How do you see that, let's say, in the next 10 years panning out?
Yeah, well, I don't think, I think it speaks for itself, right? I mean, if you look at the charts and you look at even the inflationary numbers, and you look at the hedges against that, or even in your wealth, the growth in your wealth, Bitcoin and stablecoin, these have a track record of creating that and being deflationary to me. So I see that, I see the stablecoins taking hold. I do see the traction on that. I really do. Bitcoin is going to be, it's going up. I don't think you see any type of indicators there that it's just going to tank or not be a viable investment. I do have a concern with regard to the stable coins, and that is a saturation of stable coins.
Yeah.
We're going to get to a point where you're going to see 1,000 stable coins out there, and it's just everyone has a stable coin. It's just going to be the next thing, and I'm worried about that part of it. I think where Krown sets themselves apart is that if you can imagine Bitcoin or Ethereum on basically on steroids, if you will, it's faster, it's cheaper, it's more, it has more utility. That is really what Krown is about, and I think you're going to find the value of these in being able to utilize that in a certain way across multiple platforms, and it become its own utility coin, and also offer value as well. So while I do see, yes, Bitcoin, obviously, but stable coins having traction, I do worry about the saturation, and then it's going to move to the points of the bottleneck points, or the points of concern, which would be security. Number one, it's only going to take one hack, right? One major hack in one of these, and it's going to be whoa, because your confidence is key. Confidence is, and trust is, the most volatile points, the most volatile pressure point for this industry right now, and it'll continue to be that way. You're going to see that happening on a hacking, and so I think Krown's ready to go for that, and that's why we built it. And the other thing too is that not just the safety side of it, but the utility side of it. It's great to have a stable coin, that's good, but when you have 1,000 or 2,000 stable coins, where's your differentiator at? Where's that at, right? And so that's also why Krown was built too.
Yeah, 100%. And I must say that I did have the saturation concern as well. But one point that kind of gave me comfort was, the policymakers did decide, and they ensured that the issuance of stablecoin by the U.S. banks or institutions would have to be like a 1-to-1 ratio to treasuries. So it cannot exceed the amount of liquid assets or short-term treasuries that they have.
Yeah.
And that kind of like rhymes with the concern of the dollar when the dollar was, detached from the gold standard in 1971, because now we have a situation where, the fiat currency dollars circulating in the market exceed the gold reserves when once upon a time it was matched. I guess equally, my biggest fear would be one day, let's say like a future Nixon, so I don't want to get into politics, decides to detach, the issuance of stable coin from, let's say, the liquid assets that should back it, because it has to be backed by liquid assets, 1-to-1. Sure, great. So, where do you see, Krown Technologies and Krown Network in the next 5 years? I'm pretty sure that's a very common question that you get from the investor community.
Yeah, I think success it'll be measured by more than market cap. A lot of people look at market cap. For me, it's really about users across the ecosystem itself. It's about how we've handled our security protocols, the number of projects successfully launched on the launch pad itself, if millions of people are using Krown products daily, whether they're paying, trading, socializing, gaming, whatever it may be, I think that's the true sign of adoption and success. And that's the plan for Krown. And another thing too is, I think that's huge, is there's a lot of hype and a lot of talk and a lot of projects, and most of them are just coins or meme coins, things like that. But to actually have products available and to actually see these things launch, that is a true testament of where you're going and what your future is going to look like. And for Krown, we're already there. We already have products in prototyping. We already have products in testing right now. We're going to be launching very soon. So our 5-year vision for that is really about continuing to develop, right? Continue to test these out, make sure they're viable, make them available to users, and that'll create that adoption. And then once you see adoption of one, then you can drip out another one. I mean, we have 32 products and platforms, so we've got so much time to continue to drip these products and platforms out. I just see Krown starting to really take hold, and owning a bigger chunk of the crypto and DeFi pie, just because of its sheer size, but also because it was built for an era that's coming up. Q Day, we hear about Q Day. I think it's already built for this type of security environment or threat environment.
Awesome. So over a decade ago, very early in my career, I used to work for a company that did provide vaccines and hygiene products for the poultry industry, right? And look at it globally, the poultry industry is never going to die. People are always going to eat chicken, and the demand's always going to be there. So I used to say that I work for an industry that was never going to die. And in your case, I would say that your company really addresses a pain point of an industry that I believe is also the future. That's never going to die, in a way. So, the next question that I did have is, obviously you do have a community of founders that do participate in your founder hub, right? So you kind of like found this niche that's really the future, and I believe that that's the story that you tell your investors.
Yeah.
So, if a younger you came to you and said, okay, what's the next big thing in the digital economy that's going to be a lucrative business, what would you say?
That's going to what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you on the business.
So if a younger you that participated in Founder Hub were to ask you what the next big opportunity would be in the digital economy or in Web3, what would you say?
Well, in Web3, in this economy, I think overall it's going to be the companies that can ensure security moving into the quantum era, right?
Yeah.
You can build anything that you want, but if you're not secure and you don't have a way to make sure that you secure the people's assets and their investments and things like that, they're never going to do business with you. So for me, it's really about the security part of it. And then it's also often the utilitarian side of it too. They need to be able to go into an ecosystem and say, okay, I can do everything I want here. And by the way, while I own some of this Krown or this coin, it's also holding the floor too, and it's building value for me because every revenue channel from all the products in the ecosystem feed back to that native coin. So it increases its value and its floor. So I would say to the younger me, if I'm looking at the world going ahead in Web3 environment or DeFi, I would say that look for something that is secure and look for something that's scalable. And also make sure that the team behind that is ethical and responsible, and that they're out there and you know who they are.
No, absolutely. No, so it's really great having you, James. And before we wrap up, would you like to let the audience know where they can find more information on Krown and even potential adopters, and how they can also get connected to the Founder Hub?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, Ramal, thank you so much for having me today, man. It's been a real pleasure speaking with you. So for anyone that wants to know more information about Krown, whether you're an investor, a developer, enthusiast, whatever, there's always a place for you in Krown. That's how we built it. So they can go to our website at krown.network. That's KROWN.network. You can go there. You can learn more. You can look at the Krown paper. You can access the Krown Hub that way as well by clicking on buy or sign in, create an account, and you can go in and look around yourself. You don't actually have to purchase to see it. So again, we're just real quick, we're doing the test net on the package in about 3 to 4 weeks, and then we expect full launch of the chain and a few of the products in October. And we are working with our partners at Quantum Emotion too to build the world's first quantum hot wallet. So if you can imagine MetaMask and Trust Wallet, basically quantum secured, that's what we're building with Castle. So we're really excited about that. So I invite everyone to join our Telegram group. as well, and that's on the website at krown.network.
I'm going to be an adopter of the hot wallet guaranteed. And when you do IPO, I live just across the road from New York City. I'd love to attend and see you ring that bell. So all the best, and thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, brother. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Take care.